Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is just 1 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Again, welcome. Introducing accuracy, efficiency, and speed to your cafeteria. My name is Eden, and I'm going to be one of your hosts today. Also here we have Tina and Brian.
Hi, everybody.
All right. So, Brian, I'm going to throw it to you. I know we have a couple little housekeeping things that we want to talk about.
Sure. Just wanted to let everyone know that we're going to be recording this session, and it'll be up on. I'll be emailing you a link to our website as we are finished, probably a couple hours afterwards. And I'll have a link to our website that'll have a recording of this video. We're also going to have a question and answer section towards the end. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end of the meeting.
Awesome.
Turn it back over to you.
Thanks. Thank you. Hey, Tina, I'm going to let you kick it off.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do,
I know. That's why we're doing it to you. Okay, so if you could start it off with talking about some current ID methodology and the issues that kind of surround that.
Absolutely. Thanks, E. So if I were to take a quick poll right now, I am sure there would be a mix of identification methods that everyone here is currently using in your schools. ID cards, pin pads, maybe visual identification, manual lookup methods. But these methods all have their challenges. Cards lost, stolen, misplaced, damaged. Pins can be shared or forgotten. Lookup methods are really time-consuming. Visual identification just has a lot of, built-in pitfalls. So if you are looking for a faster, more accurate, and efficient way to manage your student identification in your schools, these solutions are just not ideal. Using identimetrics is going to remove those challenges because you see these, they come to school with your students every single day, and they can't be shared, lost, stolen, or forgotten. So I'll pass that back to you. You're going to talk a bit about identimetrics and our company.
All right, cool. Very brief history of identimetrics. And I think it's kind of important to know that we have been doing this for 21 years, y'all. This is not bleeding edge or cutting edge technology. This is trusted and proven technology. Identimetrics is a software company. And what our software does is just this. We are a biometric replacement for barcodes, pin pads, and swipe cards. That's it. We're a super duper fancy replacement for these forms of ID. Let me show you our finger scanner. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Darth Vader's helmet, but in a royal blue. All right, so it's a USB device. We just plug it into an available USB port. It's probably about 5 feet long or so. Oh, and I do want to mention the software does run on a Windows operating system as well. Okay, so I have to share my screen for Tina now.
Oh, great. Thank you. I was just going to ask you to do that.
All right. I'm going to share this screen for you. So Tina's going to talk a little bit about how this all works.
Yeah, thanks, E. So let's talk a little bit about how the system works. So first, you need to enroll your users, okay? And then once your users are enrolled, you're ready to start using finger scan identification. So let's talk a little bit about that enrollment process. On the screen here, there's a really nice visual that gives a step-by-step overview of what's happening during the enrollment process. So the first thing to create an enrollment template to enroll your users, the finger is scanned using the device that Eden just showed, the finger scanner. So the finger is scanned. And unique points are identified on the finger pads of the index fingers, which is the finger that we recommend for use. However, we'll talk a little bit more about some other ways to do that. So we're looking at the minutia, the whirls and swirls on the finger pads. Once the software takes a look at those, when the finger is scanned, unique points are identified. Those points are then converted to a unique binary number, and I think QR code, okay? And that number is encrypted, and it's linked to the user's ID. And that template, this is what is the biometric template, is then stored in a biometric database. And I'm going to mention this here, and we're going to probably talk about it several more times. But your biometric database is contained within your district's existing security infrastructure, okay? So that template is stored. Okay, so now that we have a template created, our users can now start finger scanning for identification. And let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. So when a student or a staff member, whoever your users are, combination of both maybe, come back to place their finger on the scanner for identification, the software is going to look at the new template, compare it to the template that we've created, and send back a response to the receiving application, which is the ID number, okay? And then that ID number is associated with the account or the record or the information aligned with that student's ID number in the receiving application, okay? So that all happens. The identification process, less than 2 seconds. The enrollment process, the part where we're creating the template, less than a minute. Okay. Eden, anything else that you think I should cover here in terms of, how it works, creating the template, and then once the template is created, you're ready to start using? I leave anything out there?
Tina, you are perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to stop the share because you're going to
Okay, yeah.
You're going to take us on a little whirlwind tour.
I am. I'm going to take us on a little tour over on my screen here. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Thank you. You'll notice I have a couple monitors up here, so I might be looking back and forth. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what happens with the identification process. I want to show you here. Notice I have a Word document up here. This Word document is really just mimicking your receiving application, okay? The receiving application could be your lunch application. It could be your attendance application. It could be an application you're running in the library. Identimetrics is going to send identification information to whatever receiving application that you're running in your school. So this Word document here is just representing your receiving application. Notice I have this little box here. This little box we call our scan window. And this box sits on top of your receiving application. It's movable. It's sizable. We can make it bigger or smaller. And typically what we do during the installation and configuration process is we find just the right spot for that scan window based on the real estate that your receiving application has available, okay? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to place my finger on the finger scanner, and I'm going to show you how quickly the identification response is to your receiving application. So watch really close because it's going to happen super, super fast. Here we go.
Don't blink. Don't blink.
There we go. So what I'm showing you here is a simulated event where a student is standing in the cafeteria or in the library and scanning their finger and sending it to the receiving application where a response is immediately provided by the application that we're sending the ID number to. Okay, that was less than 2 seconds each time. Okay.
Super fast. Very fast indeed.
It is a very, very quick process. Okay, so let's kind of go. I want to take you a little bit on a tour. Now that we talked about the enrollment process, showed you the identification process. Let me open up our enrollment manager and take a little tour here. So hang on, it's going to pop over a couple of screens here, but I'll be back over in just a second. Here we are. Okay. We can all see that?
Yes.
The enrollment grid. Okay. This is our enrollment manager. This is the interface that allows you to easily manage the Identimetrics application, easily manage your data, and easily manage and control your enrollment process. So you'll notice here, again, it does several things here. So we have a nice menu selection option at the top that helps you manage the system. And we have here a grid style interface that's very familiar, looks and functions very much like an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
Okay. Our user data is contained within this grid. And I want to highlight a couple of things here. I first want to bring your attention to the fact that this is the only data that we are keeping for your students. This is the only data contained in our system for your students. We have name information, ID information, a grade and a grade and a school name. Okay, so that's all that we have. And this template that is created is all linked to the student ID number. If you bring your eyes over here to the left side of the screen, you'll notice there's some visual indicators. And it's a real easy way to identify just by looking at a record to decide whether or not they do or do not have an enrollment template that's been created. Green and happy means we have an enrollment template. Red and sad means we still need to get a template for that particular student. On this side, on the right side of the screen, we have a couple of features that allow you to either opt out your students, okay, those that are not participating in the finger scan system, and we allow you to enter that data so that this person who is not participating in finger scanning can also be easily identified. Another option here is the inactive field. This is a data management option, which allows you to keep your data nice, neat, and clean from year to year. On the bottom here on our screen, you'll notice that we have some other buttons here. Again, all about helping you easily manage and control your enrollment process, adding records, removing records if you need to do so manually. And for those of you who might be interested, we also have a whole slew of automated options to keep your system optimized and running efficiently. Oops. Okay. So that, Eden, anything you want to add here to the description of the enrollment interface?
Not really, but I'm going to I know we're going to be talking about student privacy next.
Yep.
And just as a like, launch point for that topic, I wanted to say that, what we didn't see is Tina logged into this enrollment manager using credentials. So she needed a username and password to access that. And I kind of like that idea that you guys get to assign who gets to see this data, right? Again, for privacy, for student privacy. And the other thing that I think is important too, again, just starting to talk about student privacy, is the idea that we have this organization of school name and school grade, and that's a really great way to keep this data organized in terms of student privacy, because we only want the records of the current student body in this database, right? So with the grades, we're able to keep that organized. You've got seniors. There's a feature in Identimetrics that's going to graduate those guys and take them out of the system at the end of the year. So that's the starting point for student privacy for sure.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention that those processes that Eden's talking about. So the end of year activity, and I'm sure that is a common term that everybody is familiar with, right? End of year, regardless of what application that you're running. So end of year in our system, all of that can be set up and automated. So it doesn't become a task that you need to manage from year to year, as well as the import, right? That can be an automatic flow of data that would be coming from your student information directly into Identimetrics, again, streamlines the management of the system tremendously because it is no longer a manual effort. It's an automated process.
Mm-hmm. Probably it's going to be, in terms of the automation of student records, it's going to be similar to how your point of sale is set up today. It's going to be in that vein. Okay. So student privacy, Tina.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
That's all, you know, when we talk, this is always a great conversation, and we love to have it because we love to share all of the information with you. So let's start. And I had mentioned a little bit about the data. You know, where is the Identimetrics data stored? And I'm going to just say it again. It is controlled by you, right? It's going to be contained within your district's existing security infrastructure. We are not hosting the data. It is entirely within your control. Eden mentioned, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then like we said before, the access to that data is up to you guys. You can't just like, you know, get in there and look around. You have to have credentials to do that.
A couple things I want to mention again, as I was talking about the enrollment process, when that finger scan template is created, it is encrypted with a 256-bit proprietary algorithm, okay? And then it is stored on a database kept within your control and behind your security fences. So how is the data being used? Well, the data is only being used to identify students in your schools who are enrolled into the Identimetric system. Okay, so that opt-out feature we were talking about, you know, this is an option when you are presenting the idea of rolling out Identimetrics to your schools. Your parents and can have the ability to say, hey, I don't want my student to participate. Fine. Opt out, get selected. We add that to that enrollment grid, and there will never be a way that that student can be enrolled. The system will not allow it if an opt out is assigned. So that's an important point.
Love that.
We don't keep it. Let's talk about that. Back to the enrollment process, the enrollment piece again. We do not have any images. This is a finger scan, right? And as I was saying, when we're creating that template, all we're doing is looking at the minutia points on the finger pad and creating a number that's associated with those unique identified points. We do not have any images, and the template, the fingerprint, can't ever be recreated from the template that is stored. Another point that I want to bring up is about the data that we're collecting, right? As you saw in the enrollment grid, we only have a few pieces of information for every student record: their name, their ID number, their school, and their grade. And that's all that we have.
That's it.
Yep.
That is it.
Certainly a lot less information than we'd find on a card, right? If somebody dropped a card,
right, I know.
Shared a pin, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Less information than social media.
That's for sure.
From us too, right?
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
What other privacy things do we leave out of this?
Well, I wanted to just throw into this mix the idea that you know, because I know that probably some of you are going to have to, like, from this little webinar, you might have to go and talk to some of your stakeholders about using Identimetrics. And one of the things I like to remind people of is that this process is, you know, not called fingerprinting. It's actually technically called finger scanning. And I think that's a really good thing to, that term is good to start using right from the jump, right? So, because what you call it is what everybody else is going to call it. So finger scanning is the way to go. I'm going to just go back one little thing here. And back to student privacy real quick before we move on, is that on our website, if you haven't been to our website, goodness gracious, grab yourself a cup of coffee and get on over.
Yes.
It is fabulous. It is fabulous. Thank you, Brian. Brian's responsible for that. It is wonderful. In fact, I was doing a demo earlier today for somebody, And she said, I have been all through your website and I just have some questions. So it's a really, really good place to start. But back to my point.
Can I share the screening?
Do I want to share the screen?
No, I can share and show,
Okay,
like bring
yeah,
the website up while you're talking?
Absolutely. Because what I wanted to point out was we have a whole section about student privacy.
There it is.
And when you're talking about student privacy, if you click on that link, it's an easy thing to just send to your stakeholders. Okay. And there's even this group, there's a really awesome roundtable webinar that we did last year. That's phenomenal. That talks about kind of what we're going to jump into next in the onboarding stuff, is about the parent communication and how you're going to communicate to your parents about finger scanning ID at the schools. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but definitely check that out too. All right. Do we anything more, y'alls, that we want to chat about with student privacy? Can I jump on into?
Yeah, go ahead.
Onboarding?
That was what I was going to do. I was going to say, hey, let's make sure everybody knows where that privacy guide is on the website, because it really is awesome. And that roundtable webinar just has so many great nuggets to take away and share, and things that we could probably sit on this webinar for hours to talk about all the wonderful topics that surround our system. But anyway, we'll let you go ahead and do that on your
own. And that roundtable, by the way, was our customers, 6 customers that are chatting. Tina and I are there as well, but it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Okay. Onboarding. All right. So once you place your order, I love talking about the onboarding because I think that we've done a really good job, a very thorough job of helping you navigate the deployment of Identimetrics. So once you place your order, you get a welcome letter that invites you to start the process. And one of the first things we present you with is parent communication, right? So we have done all the work to get you started with communicating to your parents about this program. All right, so we have letters for parents. We have letters for your faculty, just so like all the teachers and everybody else are on board with this idea that we are not fingerprinting students. Right, we're finger scanning them. So letters. Oh, and then we have this document. I thought I had one. I guess I don't. It's this really nice document that talks about how it works, similar to what Tina was showing us earlier. That progression that's on it. A nice little table about the differences between student ID and forensics, and a really nice Q&A. So that can go home with parents and to the faculty. Just to kind of brush them up on all things biometrics. The other stuff that we have is a privacy policy recommendation. We are all about communicating and putting some policies in place about this data, right? So we have that for you too. We have opt-out forms. Like I feel like after 21 years, we've put together a whole bunch of really excellent materials for you guys to use. And a lot of it, if not most of it's in Spanish as well. So onboard. Oh, I see you wanting to chime in. Go ahead, girl.
You know me, I'm sitting rolling in my seat. Okay, I wanted to also mention, just as part of that, when you were talking about the privacy policy recommendation, something we didn't mention during the earlier conversation about student privacy is we have been early signatories. I don't know what the year is on this for the student privacy pledge. I think that's really important. 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, we were one of the first to sign it. Right, Brian? 2020.
It dates back farther than that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's farther than 2020.
Oh.
Yeah, but it does. It dates back it's for quite some time now. And we're also for Sherpa compliant. Okay, so that there are 2 pieces of information that I just wanted to share. Again, we have certificates, and we have information to provide if that is anything that would be useful, in your toolbox as you're communicating using finger scanning to your parents in your community. Okay, I'm quiet now.
For now, she's quiet. Okay, all right. So we talked about the letters. Okay, so the next thing that happens is we have a sit down with your tech folks, right? And I really like this part of our process because oftentimes the tech people may or may not be part of the due diligence process. Yeah. And we have to kind of like have a sit down with them. We talk about how the product works, show them all the different components, answer question, dispel myths, all of it. And the other thing I really, really like about this moment that we have with the tech people, particularly when we're deploying for food service, is that we want to make some friends, right? We want them to know that we're in the room helping with the food service program, so that if we need to reach out to them for whatever reason, it's not like, hey, oh, you've never met me before, I'm Eden from Identimetrics. We already know each other. Yeah. So I love that. I love that piece. As a result of that call, we're going to give you an install date, right? You're going to get on the calendar. We're going to do those installs either with your techs or without, or a combination of both. So we get everything done for you, and then you can move on to the training. We have, oh my gosh, loads of training videos for you guys to look at, from enrollment to, just little how-tos, cheat sheets, crazy cheat sheets. We do have documentation with the software, but we have distilled down a lot of the top, 20 tech support questions that you can access easily. Print them out, look at them on your phone, whatever. But the training is all baked and ready to go for when you guys want to train your team. Finally, we have what we call a final system check that we can do together, or you provide a checklist of how to do the final system check. Spoiler alert, it's basically, every computer that has a finger scanner, put your finger on the scanner. We want to see that account come up in your point of sale, and that's your final system check. Like to do that before you go live, just in case we have to do a little tweak here and there. We don't, we prefer, nobody likes a 911, so that's why we have a final system check, right?
And I want to chime in here real quick, just about, the relationships that we have built over the years with all of the leading point of sale companies. Yep. They know us, we know them, and so we work in a beautiful integrated partnership. So when when we're putting things together for you, we know the ins and outs of how they work, and we have a very nice working relationship to make sure if there's any questions that we are handling that as part of the deployment final system check.
Yep, absolutely, Tina. All right, so we talked about how awesome our website is, and I'm going to take you guys, if you're not sure, if you haven't picked up the pricing worksheet, I'm going to show you where it is now, so you can do a little cocktail napkin math on getting pricing here. Let me share my screen again. Here we go. All right, so this is the home page of our website. All you have to scroll down is just this little tiny bit, biometric finger scan pricing. Give that a click, and we'll shoot that off to you for the pricing. Again, it's just, it's like a little, read the bullet points, and you'll be able to really come up with your own pricing before we write you a formal quote. And we will write you a formal quote and talk to you about that to make sure that it's accurate. We like accurate quotes to go out. So when you're ready, we'll write you a quote. Okay. Next steps. All right, so a couple of things that you can do as a next step from this webinar is you can pick up that pricing. If you want to, you can schedule a demo for yourself and the stakeholders. It's kind of like this, except it's just me. And I love doing them. Please, I like to talk to people about their schools and their programs and everything. So I would love to do a one-on-one demo with you. You can sign up right here on that little pale blue box. All right. You're going to get my contact information at the end of the webinar too. If you don't see a date and time that works for you, just shoot me an email and we can make it happen. Okay. Okay, Brian, do we have any questions? For the panel. Meaning Tina. What we got?
Eden, will you stop sharing your screen for a second?
Oh, I thought I did.
Okay.
Did I?
So we do have a couple questions here.
Okay.
One of which is, does this work with a Windows operating system? Or does it only work? Yes, it does only work with a Windows operating system.
Yes.
And does it require a server? If so, what kind of server?
Oh, before you answer that, Tina, the other thing I want to throw out is about the Chromebooks. Talk about that too. Do we work on Chromebooks?
No, okay. So let's talk a couple things. Our system does require a Windows operating system. If you are a Mac house and you wanted to create and partition a Windows side to your Macs, then that would also be a successful solution. Okay, but we do need a Windows, we do run on a Windows operating system. And again, Macs would require a Windows side. Does our system require a server? A server is not a requirement. And again, this is one of those questions that we are typically unpacking when we go ahead to that deployment planning part. Depending upon the size of the district and the recommended deployment plan, a server could be a better option, but as a requirement, it is not a requirement.
If you have more questions or want me to email you guys the system requirements, there's my email right there. Just shoot me an email and say, hey, send me the system requirements. We have a whole nice little document that explains all of this stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
What you're going to need.
And I also think that sometimes, like for this particular, whoever is asking the question, if you want to shoot Eden a message, and maybe it's really a conversation that we can kind of talk about, well, what's your district look like? What are you looking to achieve? How many serving lines? How many locations? We can help unpack that and talk about a really great way and a good solution to deploy for you.
Always. Big or small. We can, yes, we love to chat. We love to chat about this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We got a next question here. Does it work with Skyward?
Yes. Yes, we work with Skyward. Yes, we work with WenGauge, Mosaic.
I was just going to say, list them all.
Titan, QSP, Pay Schools,
Meals Magic, Mosaic.
Meals Plus, Mealtime,
webinar pointing out the point of sale systems we work with.
Listen,
quite an extensive list.
Yes, quite an extensive list.
If you're using a barcode, a pin pad, or a swipe card, or if you're typing an ID number in, we're going to work with it.
Yep.
We're just a very fancy barcode, pin pad, or swipe card reader.
That's exactly right.
Next question here is, I'm ready to move forward. What do I do next?
I love that question.
Cha-ching, right there.
Right here. That's me. Okay, you have my contact information. Let's get together. We can do a quick call. We'll write you really, like I was saying, we'd like to write accurate quotes. We'll get you a quote, and then I can guide you to the next steps from there. Can't wait to talk to you.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you also have my contact information, and I can forward that email along to Eden. You don't need to write down this email address if you're
Thank you, Brian. Brian's got all my numbers.
Yeah.
Brian knows where I live even.
I know we went over this a little bit before, but where is the biometric data stored?
You can't ask that enough. Go, Tina.
No,
I know you're dying.
I'm jumping out of my seat.
So
the biometric data is stored on a computer or server, depending upon the device that we're using within your district's existing security infrastructure. So it's all housed behind the security fences that your district has for all of the other data that it's holding. So you hold it.
I think it's good to point out as well that yes, it is on your system, but we do not have access to that.
Nope.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, that kind of like from a support standpoint, for example, if there was something, well, even from an installation and a support, right? And it's a good point, Brian, when we when we run the installation, we have to request access, and someone on your side has to provide that permission for us to get in and run the install. Same scenario when we're talking about support. If there is a support issue that requires our attention, again, we are requesting access from your side, and you'll grant the permission so that we can work together on the resolution. Right, obviously us guiding, but correct, we can't access that data ever without your permission.
Mm-mm.
And that runs into our next question, which is how do you handle support issues?
Well, I'm jumping in here, and then you're just gonna fill in the gaps.
You got it.
I know you're dying here. Okay, lots of ways we handle support issues. We have a support ticket system that you can email. We have phone numbers that you can call. We even have a 911 phone number. I'm gonna jump. You know what we forgot to talk about, you guys, is the customer resource center. And we have this really cool customer resource center that is meant to kind of like help you, 24/7, 365.
Mm-hmm.
All the support information is there. You can open a ticket there. You can find out, when we're open or closed. Like, again, spoiler alert, Christmas, we're closed. But we have all the onboarding stuff that you can access anytime, the videos, all of that stuff. So back to the question, we have tickets that you can open that we utilize, phone numbers, and I'm going to go back to that roundtable webinar that I can't stop talking about that you guys can look at. One of the best moments on that was this gentleman, Kevin Doyle, who's been a customer of ours for a really long time, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something like that.
At least.
But Kevin said in the roundtable that Identimetrics tech support is best in the biz. And I think at that point, like a little tear of joy rolled. I was like so proud of our team.
Yeah.
We do aim to flabbergast you with our support.
Which we usually do. And to that point, the responsiveness too. Talk a little bit about that. When you open up a ticket or you give us a call or you give us a 911 on the bat phone, or you're sending an email and we're putting it into our channels, our response is fast, just like our finger scanning. Okay. So we are going to get to you. Because our goal here at Identimetrics, and I speak for the entire company, our goal is to make you succeed in everything that you do.
True story.
Problem resolution is part of that. You're not just buying this awesome product, but along with that, outstanding, best in the biz support as well. Channels and response time.
And we like making friends too.
We do. So, that's a true story.
I think that like part of what's really cool about Identimetrics is because of how we have set up the onboarding process. Like we really do get to know our customers.
Yeah.
In a way that probably other companies don't. So when we do tech support, it's kind of like, oh hey, hey Brian, hey Tina, how you doing? Like that. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary.
Yeah. That's a great word for it. It's a great word. You're welcome. More questions?
Here for one final.
Question
here is, can you help with parent communication?
Heck yeah. Like I said, on that onboarding that will take you through, you're going to have access to letters for parents, letters for your faculty, a document explaining how finger scanning works, and our privacy recommendation. And again, most of those documents are in Spanish as well. You can have them. They're all ready to go. They're in a doc format, so it's editable. You can take what keep everything the same, take what you love, get rid of some. It's just a wonderful starting point. So you don't have to start from scratch, right? So we try to make it as easy as possible for you. Hey, we're trying to just simplify your school day around here.
Yeah. That's true. And I will even add, there have been times where people have taken our material and created their own message using ours, like Eve said, as a template, and asked us to review it. Hey, we want to send this out. Can you review it for accuracy? It's collaborative. And, you know, again, that's just, again, we talk about product, we talk about service, and we talk about support. That's all piece of it.
Yep. So Brian, we're time is up for us. Is that what you were saying? Brian's the timekeeper. Brian's the timekeeper.
Hey, basically, Eden and Tina stop talking is what he's saying.
Probably. That's usually what happens in meetings. Usually. Brian tells us to stop talking. Hey, Brian, do you want to just do a quick recap of your housekeeping, and then I'll close?
Yeah, so I'm going to send everyone a email after this webinar that has a link to this webinar recording, and feel free to share it with everyone in your group who's interested.
True story. I love it.
Awesome.
Love it. All right. This is the part where we thank you so much. I mean, seriously, we know everybody's super duper busy, so we appreciate you taking some time to learn about Identimetrics. Hopefully you learned stuff. Hopefully you had some fun. I know Tina did. Brian and we all had fun. We all had fun. Thank you again. Reach out to us with questions. We can't wait to work with you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.